actually, let me just real quick. Can I find this guy? No, he's gone. And anyway, yeah, why would she do that? You're not gonna gaslight people into some bullshit, bro. Like, everybody see what's going on.
Statutory phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No, you're not entitled.
So
you're
can
allowed.
you have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that.
Well, the thing is, like, the obvious race baiting, and you can see, like, the smug look on his face, right? How he thinks, like, oh, I got you because, like, I'm using the race card, and so now you have to capitulate to what I'm saying, otherwise you might be looked at as a racist.
I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're
to
coming.
say that would be unacceptable.
Well, no, I would say that the United States,
a very easy
the
thing
United
to
States
say.
has a right to pick and choose who they allow into the United
Even
States.
based on the color of somebody's skin.
No one's. You're the one that's talking about the color of their skin, not me. These
You're
are people
refusing
whose
to
farms are being
acknowledge
burned down and they were killed because of the color of their skin.
Well, I'm.
You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world.
They turned them off.
But it does help.
Bro, they really had to turn him off? Oh, no.
Well, you've demonstrated enough that you think anyone should be allowed into this country for any reason because they met a certain criteria.
Who has said that?
We are going to prioritize people that come into our country on the basis of what's in the interest of this country. That's a small number of people that are coming.
Yeah.
But you said this weekend that
But in other
more.
cases, it's harder to vet. In other cases,
It's pretty fucking simple. Like, if you could bring in a person that comes from some random country that doesn't speak your fucking language, that has no skills, no money, and nothing, they're just coming into your country to leech your resources and sit there and do nothing, then yeah, I feel like that person's gonna have a lower priority on the list than a person that speaks English, has skills, has resources, and can contribute to the society. What are we talking about? Like, it's common fucking sense.
4, 3,
Duh.
2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission
it's more
area.
difficult. By the way,
Got
the
it?
United States admits people every year. 1 million people come to this country every year legally. 1 million.
And
people
now
every year come to this
there is
country
one
legally.
group
No
of
other
people
country
that
in the
have
world
an
is nearly as
easy
generous.
pass into this country. For the first time, this administration has said Afrikaners get an easy pass. Refugee programs for the remainder of the world are shut off. And you can't say to the American public that we should apply this statute in an even-handed way.
No, I think it should be applied in a way. No, you shouldn't be shocked. It should be applied in the national
Mission area is yours to capture
It's
now.
very obvious that people who are coming from South Africa would probably have an easier job assimilating than people coming from some other random country that is totally different. Like, for example, Poland does accept refugees from Ukraine. It should logically make sense that you accept refugees primarily from countries that are similar to your own. It's so simple. Yes, it's culturally similar. Yes. Duh. It's so weird how we've reached such an inversion of sense and logic that these obvious realities need to be dictated to people as if they're in first grade. It's unreal.
States. Our immigration policy should be based on the national solution of the United States. Period. End of story. If there is a subset of people that are easier to vet, who we have a better understanding of who they are and what they're going to do when they come here, they're going to see from, no doubt about it. There are a lot of millions and millions of people around the world in our country. We cannot assume millions and millions of people around the world. No country can. So you have to have a process of deciding who do you prioritize and who do you allow in. We do it all the time. We do it in our immigration system now under our current law. Unfortunately, it's primarily based on family connection and not on what they're going to contribute to the society from a merit standpoint. That should be changed, but that'll require statutory change.
This argument is so disingenuous. No,
Their
it's
team's
true.
capture progress has passed the halfway point.
He's completely right. Bringing in people with a similar culture, a shared language, and that have established skills that can immediately contribute to the American
This shield
economy,
should do
I think
nicely.
they should be fast-tracked. I don't care about bringing in basket cases. How is bringing in basket cases something that is in the best interest of the American public? It's not.
But the bottom line is, this notion that somehow we have to accept anyone who wants to come to the United States is absurd. And no country in the world has an immigration policy like that.
And no one is arguing that we should. I get that.
Let's see here if I find a few more of these.
And I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for such a
See the whole thing.
Can I respond? Well, first of all, your regret voting for me confirms you doing a good job based on what I know.
Well, that's just
Your
a
record
flippant
for-
statement, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may. I didn't ask the
Senator,
question.
please let the Secretary.
I'd be happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and lawfully used, I might add.
Man's a disgusting traitor. I think he's a joke too, bro. Like, I do. Like, if like, I honestly wish that they could find, like, I am the kind of guy that if it was up to me, I would want to have this Kilmar guy totally investigated. And if they could find beyond a shadow of a doubt that this guy was involved with MS-13, then I would try to the senator with, like, fraternizing or, like, working with an illegal gang member. Like, I would, as I said, I am a very, very much an Old Testament kind of guy. Like, whatever, like, basically, I think about what is the worst possible thing that you can do? Okay, we can be more creative than that. What else beyond that? Wouldn't that just be nice? Yeah, I think it would be. It would be. Yeah, that's the right way to handle this stuff.
The battle starts in 5.
What do you do if he's not MS-13? Well, then we just call him a retard.
1.
We call him a retard and we say, hey, I wish you'd work this hard for the people that voted for you rather than the people that came to the country illegally and disrespected the laws, the country, and broke the law here.
Your remarks are not representing you, Mr. Nidwell. Mr. Secretary,
Well, I can't respond to everything she says because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud.
He works harder for a wife beater than his constituents. That's crazy. Wow.
the wizard is down.
Oh, that's you won on that one. He's a label terrorist now, so now he's literally able to be called Maybe. Maybe. I mean, like, as I said, until sitting senators and multiple government officials are charged with treason directly, I sleep. That's a slippery slope. I know. That's what I'm hoping for.
You are under my spell. Now,
Yeah, that's the goal.
protective shield.
For working down with USAID, for example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for mail services in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes a stronger and more prosperous of a nation. I don't
We cutting their dicks off over there? Damn, why are we going over there cutting everybody's dicks off?
You like that?
The soft power?
I raised two hands.
Can I respond, Senator?
I mean, look, there's a part of me that, like, I do think that an uncircumcised penis looks like Gravemind from Halo 2. So, I do think that definitely it looks better if you are circumcised, like, aesthetically. But, nah, y'all...
My work here is not done.
Prudent to withdraw for the moment. I'm right here with healing magic.
On my word, retreat immediately.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point. You're not going anywhere.
I'm not joking.
I need assistance.
Like, I wasn't joking about this. Like, this wasn't like a, oh yeah, I'm just gonna say something funny. No, I'm just making an observation. That's all. It's just an observation.
You had 7 straight minutes of
I chose to use my time that way, Mr.
Somebody says that's the gayest thing
My
I've ever
work
heard.
here
That's
is
not
not
even the
done.
gayest thing I've said today.
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes of
I chose to
railing on
use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to use.
Please suspend. Secretary.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social protection in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one that you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. And the data,
Mr. Chairman,
Please, Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated
Senator,
like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor. You had
Secretary
your
Rubio
time.
should take that testimony to the federal court in the
Senator,
United States because
well,
he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to...
He's getting really mad. Now, if this guy ever did get charged with treason, it would be really funny if we sent him to El Salvador. I will say,
The right
that
heroes
would
can
be
make all
the
the
most
difference.
entertaining outcome.
conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach that foreign partner and talk to them, I have under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and we've told them we've had communications with the president of El Salvador, I am under no obligation under our division of powers in this country and to share with the judicial branch how I conduct the diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing reports, and frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again. And we would break trust with them. So
Yeah.
I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying.
And this is, again, remember what I was saying before about how, like, I think this is the reason why they crashed out on Zelensky, is that they had some private conversation, and then I think
The battle
Zelensky
starts in
went and
5,
said something publicly
4,
and made something public.
3,
And like
2,
I think that's
1.
why they crashed out on him.
You have to stop them from
What
securing
we're
the
talking
mission
about with
area.
the foreign leader, because then they won't talk to you. Diplomacy doesn't work that way.
Shame that
I'm
these beings
not
have
a
not
student. Let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa it's not a right, it's a privilege. People apply for visas to come into the United States.
That's right.
And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries, try to burn down buildings, and acts of violence, we're not going to...
Get the fuck out, bro. Get them the fuck out. This is what I voted for. This is, it's crazy that left-wing people have gotten flanked so bad that this is now a position that they have to fight against. Like, they've gotten outflanked on a degree that is actually impressive. Like, to fuck up this bad, that's amazing.
Is that what Ms. Ostorp did?
Look how bad he is.
I am at your service.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Just a minute, we're at 224.
I got your back.
You see that?
There's still so much to do.
I think he hit his enraged face. Bro, he got enraged.
Born again!
Secretary.
And every single one of these documents are legitimate.
Senator.
The bottom line is if you're
Yeah.
ever here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you the right. And if you have the First Amendment of right, we will revoke the United States. And we're going to do more.
Us against the world!
Fucking not. Assemble!
There are more coming. You're going to continue to revoke visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting higher education. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk
Writing
a
an
bunch of
op-ed to the
who are
top
here on
papers
student visas.
disrupting the foreign policy of the United
I
States.
want to do more. I hope we can
That's
find more of these
pathetic.
Taking
Where's
over
the
a building
skyscraper
is,
with
and
my
then
name
supporting
on
an
it?
organization that kills people is.
In fact, the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was, and I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke.
I feel so much
That's
better.
right.
Quantum match.
That is exactly
Private
Armed and dangerous! Again!
Just take every single person that got detained for being in a place they weren't supposed to be in. If any of them aren't supposed to be here, now they're not here anymore. Gone. Instant, one strike, you're out. That's it.
I am Asgard.
Because it'll stop future bullshit. Yes, did Trump earn your vote by now? If I could go back in time and vote for him, I absolutely would. I did not think that he was going to go this hard at all. And to be fair, I still think that he's only at like a 5 or a 6. Like maybe even a 4. For what I want to see happen. But this is, it's better than the first time around. It was like a 1.
Say, all right, let's lock up people like this. We've had enough.
Rafa, thanks for 100 subs.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
So he getting his feelings hurt, bro. He getting real mad. Damn, bro. Like, wow. Let's see if I find any more of these, if there's any more of this stuff. And where's any more of this? Yeah, it's embarrassing, bro. It's so sad. And yeah, these guys, honestly, it's really funny to see them crashing out over this bullshit, man. And this is the guy. This is the guy. When was the last time he went and he got drinks with people that were part of the people that voted for him? When was the last time? What's he doing? Like, what is this? What is going on?
You fought well.
Should have not even let his ass come back. That would have been fucking
Assemble!
Maybe you couldn't do that, but it would have been funny if you did. So I saw this and I figured out watch the whole thing because there was an interview about this I thought was really interesting.
The system is rigged. You get a weapon. So if you got $1 million, great. If you got 5 million, 2 million,
that's pretty good. Yes, I would agree. If you have $10 million, life is better than if you don't. That's true. Yep.
the way our tax system's set up.
Yeah, we have a very progressive tax system until you get to about 99%. And essentially the people who get most damage...
Oh my god, it's €1. Please.
Slightly because of consumption, but not because of federal. The people that really get hurt are what I call the workhorses. And that are people who make an exceptionally good living, but it's all current income. And they live in a blue state. They might be paying 50 to 54% tax rate. I bet some of those people are on the table right now.
And I think also a lot of those people that are paying that high tax rate, they don't have the money to pay an accounting service to offset it. Like, for example, I'll just say this. I usually have to pay multiple thousands of dollars to have my taxes done. That's because my taxes are probably as thick as one. And so if you have a person do that,
I need you.
And it's not worth it for them, and it's not cost effective. And so they just end up paying more money because they can't get better service because the tax code is so hard to approach from like a like an average person's perspective.
If you can make the jump to light speed and invest in assets, stocks, housing, then your tax rate plummets. So in America, we decided to try and create a super class of billionaires, and then if they win...
No, I think that's what happens, is a lot of people do have, like... I hear about this all the time, these, like, landlord guys that have, like, 100 houses.
Oh my god, it's too big team.
And these people are just farming money. They're just farming fucking money. It's crazy.
And mortgage interest. Who owns homes and stocks? People my age. Who doesn't know who rents and makes current income? young people. So we've decided that the wealthiest people in the world should get exceptionally more wealthy. Minimum wage stuck at $9.25. Stock market is screamed
It's
up.
$7.25 here in Texas.
Average 70-year-old is 72% wealthier than they were 40 years ago. The average person under the age of 40 is 24% less wealthy. We are purposely transferring more wealth from the poor and middle class and the upper class to the super rich, and from young to old.
And you say in the book, which is true and alarming, but let's say a 30-year-old American in America right now is doing no better than his or her parents. Then that's a new thing in American history that.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. Yeah.
You would think over time, we want to do better than the next generation, than the last generation. It's not happening anymore.
I think it all ties into what we're talking about on campuses. For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had consumed by dawn child. Now it's 27%. People are opting.
60 to 27? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like about my friends. I would say out of my friends, it's like 60% do have kids. But like if I add in all of my friends that are streamers, it would go down to probably about 40%. Yeah, maybe 30 to 40%. That's not about money though. Well, I think there's a lot of reasons for that.
Out of America, they're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. People aren't having sex. They're not meeting. They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men shrinks every day.
It is, yeah. Guys don't have any fucking money. They can't get a girlfriend. And this is why you're gonna. And I don't really think that there's gonna be a way to solve this. By the way, I think that the way you solve this is just creating AI girlfriends. I don't think that like there's gonna be a way that this gets fixed and things go back to the way they were in 1993. It's just not gonna happen. The cat's out of the bag. Saboteur, yeah, exactly. And I think that also, like, a lot of times, like, guys have, I think that it's also, like, a lot of girls probably would not pursue relationships as early as they do if the culture did not reward that, right? Or like, I guess a better way for me to say it is the culture did not actively punish that. Because now that women have, like, more opportunities to, like, have careers, a lot of them are choosing to have careers. And so in the past, that literally wasn't that much of an option. So like it makes sense.
Lessens household formation. So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut, every movement into an opportunistic infection because quite frankly, they are just pissed off. They look.
What would need to be done to reverse this? What needs to be done, and this is what is going to happen, and it's just a matter of like when. Is that they need to have like a universal income. Because what's going to happen is that the reason why a lot of young people have economic problems is because the jobs that young people have to build up skills are not available anymore. Like a lot of those jobs are just simply removed. Like you can't, there's not as many people getting work, getting hired at Walmart or getting hired at Target or your local grocery store like H-E-B here. Not to mention like fast food restaurants. And you see a lot of jobs that are kind of like that low education, like not necessarily like zero education, but like just general low education jobs are just simply being automated. And as those jobs get automated, there will be people that fix and work on those robots, but that level of education is much higher than the job that the robots were designed to solve. So the problem is that if you're a guy and you're looking to get a job and you are 24, let's say, and you don't have a STEM degree or something like that, and you don't want to work in a trade, you don't really have a lot of options. It's hard to do. Yeah, tech is also fucked. It's barely started recovering. Yeah, and that's what happens. And so, and there will be guys that end up coming out ahead, right? This always happens. Like there are guys now that are 25 that are making $200,000 a year because they are really high performers at their job, or for whatever other reason, their dad or but there are guys that actually reach that on their own without any sort of like weird, crazy thing. But it's a very, very low probability. And so the probability of that happening is just extremely fucking low. And also, like the guys that are doing that are 1% guys. Like, these are guys that are smarter than probably like 95 or 99% of everybody else. So, and like, I'm not the kind of person, like, I don't think that intelligence is, I think it's changeable to a degree, but it's not completely changeable. I've played WoW long enough to know that there are some people that you will just never really be able to teach them to get out of the fire. Like, you can teach them how to get out of this fight, but they will go to the next fight, and then they'll stand in the next fight. And they're just stupid, right? That's it. And you can make them a little bit less stupid, but they're still going to be less stupid. And that's the problem. And so in the past, these people had jobs that were, you know, relatively low education, low thinking jobs. But now that doesn't happen, and more jobs are requiring critical thinking. And whenever you have critical thinking being a requirement, well, that's a problem, because a lot of people can't do that. I think you can still achieve that without being smarter than 99%. Okay. If you can achieve that without being smarter than 99%, then you probably have something else that puts you in the 1%. And you probably have a confluence of things that put you in the 1%. You could be very attractive. You could come from a richer area. You could be very good at communicating, for example. Like, just because you're not in the 1% of intelligence does not mean that you're not in the 1% of 3 other things as well. Do you see what I'm saying? Born to the right parents. Yeah, like, for example, like for me, both my parents were master's degrees, college graduates. My dad worked on a PhD, he left, he became a professor in college. He was an executive at a publishing company, and he retired, worked at the IRS. My mom was a writer, and she did that for many, many years. And she was professional. And so, like, guess what? Growing up, I had a massive advantage over people who, let's say you're like first generation Mexican, right? Like, your parents came from Mexico, they don't really speak English very well. I have an automatic advantage over that person because I grew up in a house where my parents talked to me a lot in English, and I learned how to speak in a proper way. That's just the truth. And it's not something that has to do with, like, the color of my skin. Like, there's black people that had the same advantage that I did in that circumstance. But the truth is that is still a massive fucking advantage. And there's all kinds of little advantages like that. Like, for example, you know, being tall is a huge fucking advantage. Being attractive is an insane fucking advantage. There's even a term for it. It's called the halo effect. So you have all, and also, like, health as well. Like, I've noticed that, like, for example, whenever I was younger, you know, for me, I've always been very, I know you might not believe this, but I used to always be very athletic. And it was always amazing for me to see people that would drop out whenever we would, like, run a mile, and they couldn't even do 1 lap. It's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? No, it's cap. No, it's not. Yeah, it's extremely common. So I think what happens is, I kind of went off on a tangent. But the point that I'm making is that basically, in order to be a winner, like, let's say in the past you had to be in the top 80%. Now you have to be in the top 30%,
30 seconds before you attack.
or 20%, or 40%. So whenever that many people are getting left out and they're losers, that's a huge problem.
They see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree, so the degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic. Once we own the housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person,
$290 to $420. Oh wow, that's a lot.
A house, stocks that I don't own, skyrocket in value. Let's have poison relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, it would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And they're doing it on their credit card. Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them, and then every day it is speedballed in their face.
It's not going to stop either. It's going to keep getting worse every single year. And the reason why it's going to keep getting worse is because people are trained to hate each other rather than hate the people that put them in the situation that they're in. Because a lot of the people that are being taken advantage of and fucked over, I'll be honest, they're stupid. That's why they can't get a job and they can't compete at that high level. So guess what? All those people, it's really easy to fool them into thinking that the real problem is incest, or the real problem is feminism, or something like that. Because it's an easier, like, the thing is that, like, identity politics, that's the real reason why you're a failure in life is because of identity politics. Well, that's a really easy sell to somebody with an IQ of 91.
That they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Others are more anxious, and more depressed, and more obese, and more addicted, and we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen.
This is the part that I saw.
By ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
So Scott, what the social element of that's the economic element, the social elements that you mentioned, the happiness, the anxiety, all of those things, that kids aren't getting together anymore, that they're not having kids. What happened in one generation? Social media has to play a role in it, I'm sure, but what else do you see that has created this climate for this generation?
Okay.
I think you have the most talented, well-resourced people in the world and companies trying to convince a young man that he can have a reasonable facsimile of life in his basement behind a screen. You don't need friends from Reddit or Discord. You don't need to get...
You belong to me!
What is he talking about, man? Wait, what? What's this shit? Who the fuck?
Armed and dead!
Go on Robinhood or Coinbase and trade crypto and stocks. You don't need to go through the rejection.
Yeah, that's another thing, is that I think that this is definitely true, and I know that...
Well, you can't expect to win them
I know
all.
this is true for myself. As I said, I don't like revealing my power level for, like, kind of a little bit how crazy I am. But I used to dig my fingernails into my skin and tear my skin out as just a reminder to myself that I could do whatever I wanted. That's right. I have scars on my back from it. Yep. I did it on my arms too, but all that's pretty much healed out. And so, yeah. And so, I'm a bit of a weirdo, but the truth is that a lot of people, they feel like they don't have any real autonomy. They can't control themselves. And I think that for me, there were a lot of cases in my life where I think that, for example, like, I got a lot stronger dealing with something that was, like, extremely, like, really, really bad. Like, for example, like, whenever all my teeth started falling out.
The right heroes could make all
I
the
was
difference.
such a bitch before that. I was. I was a total bitch. And, like, after that happened to me, that really, like, it fucked me up a lot, but I was a lot more fucking resilient. Tooth pain is no joke. Yeah, exactly.
I will bring peace to this.
Go fucking tell the truth. The reflection is fun. Yeah, it's life-changing. It is. And the same thing happened, like, with my mom. Like, after she passed away, I think about, like, because I'll watch videos of myself before then, and I think about, like, how, like, emotionally weak I was.
Stop us from trying to achieve it.
I was incredibly weak. And, like, having to deal with that, and the stress and pressure of that was just so bad that it like, and this is the thing, this is the problem, is that, like, it definitely changed who I was as a person in a good and a bad way. And I think that there are a lot of other instances that I've had this happen in my life too, where, like, now I think that I am more, did you hate yourself at the time? Yeah, of course. I wanted to kill myself.
2, 1.
Yeah, sure.
You have to stop
But
them from securing
I
the
didn't
mission
do it.
area.
I was a pussy, right? I mean, let's be honest. So yeah, and so that's what happened. And I think that a lot of guys nowadays, they don't have to go through a lot of those things in a lot of cases. Like, a lot of social friction. I think that's a good example of it. And I'm using, like, extreme examples from my life, but there's a lot of like very, very low examples, like getting kicked out of a friend group, having people dislike you, getting turned down by a girl, something like that. And a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do that. And guess what? If you spend so much time not doing that, you're gonna be in a bad spot. Suicide's getting higher? Yeah. Imagine you did. You missed out on being incredibly successful businessman. All cool dude. About that stuff. I don't, guys, you know this. Listen, there's a reason why I don't think about how it fuels a lot of things. It doesn't matter. The point is that this guy is right that being on social media and spending all the time on the internet does, I think, make people a lot weaker.
Healing power. That's better.
I mean, the expense and
like mentally.
And showering to get a romantic relationship, you have youth porn. So we have an entire generation, especially of young men, who are at home sequestering from society and missing out on what it means. You know, there's a reason romantic comedies are 2 hours, not 15 minutes. True victory in life is
much better. I'm quantum magic.
Feeling stronger already.
That's a good one.
I am at your service.
That's a really good one. And I bet they did the other. I don't even know if they got that. He just said it? Yeah, bro, he said this on fucking national TV.
Healing power.
Weird tangent? Yeah, that was perfect. Oh my god. You brought up rom-coms? Yeah, it's perfect. Holy shit, that was good. Yeah.
There's a reason romantic comedies are 2 hours, not 15 minutes. True victory in life is hard. Going out, meeting someone, finding mentors, finding mates, that stuff is hard.
Well, also, like, a lot of guys aren't going to be able to do that. There's some people that are just born losers, and they're never going to be successful in a free market because other people will beat them out because they're weak. And that's just what happens. And so you either have to reconcile that and just make sure that these people, like, and this is just what it's natural selection. Yeah, that's just what happens. And I'm not being mean. I think it's just the truth. Yeah, Demis, he's got a right to it. Yeah, well, as I said, I love saying the thing that's true in the worst possible way to make everybody think it's not true, right? And so I think did I do a good job of that? Hopefully I did. Yeah, some people are born losers. They're never going to be competitive. They're never going to win anything. It doesn't matter how hard they try. Somebody else will always outperform them. And these are people that used to work at McDonald's. These are people who used to work on an assembly line, turning the nut. There you go. Because guess what? If you put them in a critical thinking situation, whoever is accountable for that is going to be having a bad time. I wouldn't call some people weak. Well, I'm not talking about mentally weak. I'm talking about physically weak. Like, they're shorter, they're smaller. They can't do so much. Think about it as in terms of in any animal, in any group of animals, a lot of the animals die.
Quantum magic.
In almost every single instance. A lot of them fucking die. Do you really think that that's not the case with people? It's the case with every single group of animals, but not people? Of course it is. Some people are just born losers. Some people spawn in with 60 talents, and some people spawn in with 0. And that's the way it goes. I don't think this is a problem that's possible to solve because you can't empower a person like that. It will never work.
30 seconds.
Healing power.
But that's what real life is like. And because a lot of men feel rejected on dating apps, the number of jobs that are accessible to them has gone down. You have essentially a group of men that say, I'm a low-risk entry into life. And they go down a rabbit hole. And they don't have social connections, they don't get out, and they don't have the prospect of a romantic relationship. They're more prone to conspiracy theory, they're more prone to contact.
Well, of course they're prone to conspiracy theory because it's a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy why they're fucking failures. The fucking government cooked it up.
There's still so much to do.
The society, they're right.
Leading climate change, and some that can become really bad citizens. We are producing too many of the most dangerous person in the world, and that is a young, broke, and lonely young man.
Yeah, true.
Why is it that so
Yeah, every single school shooter basically is that. Now, there's a few exceptions, but it's a big deal whenever one of them is an exception, right? Yeah, most of the